Hi there. Welcome back to A Creative Affair, Season 2. Woohoo! All right, my name is Brie. I'm here with Len. And if you don't know who we are, go back and listen to all of Season 1. We are just so thrilled to be back and chatting. And this is the first. So we're just going to do a catch up today. And this is the first of our shorter episodes that we are calling Quickies. So here we go. Are you ready for a little quickie, Len?
I definitely am ready, and I'm up for a quickie. And what a wonderful idea to try and make things a little bit quicker. And, you and I, we do love to go on and on, don't we?
Yes, and we can.
And we can very much.
Right. But sometimes it's fun to just get on and record something, 15, 20 minutes, maybe even 10. You know, we're not going to hold ourselves to a specific time, but we just thought it might be fun for us, too, to do something a little shorter.
I was going to say, we've been thinking also that when we cover a wide berth of a large breadth of a topic, it's easy to lose the plot, isn't it? And by narrowing it down and just really focusing on something, hopefully we can explore it in a little bit more detail without getting sidetracked into the bigger picture. So being shorter, we're hoping it's more to the point, and that we, in that way, we also have so many more things that we can talk about. So I'm really excited by the idea of a quickie. And besides, with someone as gorgeous as you, of course, a quickie.
Oh, I'm tiny bit blushing, but we've joked about it so many times, it just doesn't faze me anymore. So if you're blushing on the other end, it's okay. You'll get used to it. So, and either way, Len is down in Australia, and I'm here in Austin, Texas, and so and we are both in happy relationships, but we want to have this relationship right now with you. So.
That's very, very true. And actually, while we're talking about relationships, another part of our season 2 is extending the conversation with other people and having a slightly longer episode with 3 people talking together, having this wonderful conversation. And like our other focused podcasts that we've done, we're interested in talking about specific topics with people and exploring something that is important to us all as creatives, that to try and deepen our understanding. Isn't that right, Brie?
Oh yeah, I'm super excited, and we're going to record with our first guest next week, and I just can't wait because I've actually never met him in person. He's a personal friend of mine. And anyway, we'll tell you all about him later. Sorry. Well, let's get on with it. Len, what have you been up to while we've been on our break in between seasons?
Oh, I just actually got back from Tasmania, and I spent some time in the Tarkine touring with a wonderful group of photographers that I was leading, photographing wilderness rainforest and beautiful wet trees. And of course, I've been working in glorious monochrome, photographing my beloved trees down there. And we had a fantastic time. Unfortunately, went out for dinner on the last evening, and a fair percentage of our group managed to catch COVID on that night. So we had a rather sad ending in that way. But people said if that was part of the trip, the trip was so good it was worth it. So that was really lovely feedback to have. And on the way, this is the most exciting thing, Brie, for me. I've been studying art therapy, and I've had the most amazing time learning about how art works in a therapeutic context, and how it teaches us and shows us things. And I think that's deepened me as a educator, understanding, and interestingly, it's deepened my art. And I feel so much more connected in with my art through this particular process. So that's very, very exciting. What about you, Brie? What have you been up to?
Oh, goodness. Well, all kinds of things, but I have four kids. They don't all live at home. They're actually all adults now. So I kind of just now entered this period of my life where I have no kids in like primary or secondary school. They're all headed off in different directions or going to university, and I am sort of free to roam a little bit, which is really fun. And I've also been really digging into my work in confidence and self-confidence, and what does that mean for us creatives, and how can we grow it so that we can do the things that we want to with our art. And I'm really loving that work. In fact, I love it so much that I started a group, a 6-week coaching group, and I have to tell you, some of the insights that they're getting are just really awesome as we're talking. And I'm not saying that because I think that there's something special about me. It's just interesting, and maybe you're noticing this with your art therapy, Len, that when we have new questions posed to us about the things that we're doing, it starts to move our brains in different ways, and then we come up with new answers for ourselves. And that is actually, for me, the most fun. So, and I'm also working on a couple of personal projects and planning a road trip on all of September. So I'm really excited. It's going to be so fun.
Absolutely fantastic, isn't it? There's nothing like getting out on a road trip. And this idea that thinking about questions and how we think, isn't that a lifelong process? Living life is a long process, and it never stops. I think that's really a special thing about our art, is that it connects us with it, and it always throws questions back at us, and forces us to keep asking questions. And that dialogue is so exciting to have. And I think, Brie, you will agree with me that being an educator, someone that mentors people, a facilitator of groups and individuals, and that's our primary roles in life as teachers, is a deeply rewarding thing for ourselves as well as our students. And we grow from this process as much as our students do.
Oh, for sure. What's funny is I've been making these little mini videos to send to my group every week. And in my last video, I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm doing this work too. Like, every time I meet with them, because I'm asking the questions, and then I'm still thinking about them. Like, how, where is this showing up? Part of self-confidence is this idea of perfection. And if we can let go of it, then it really does help our confidence grow and kind of kill the self-doubt. But anyway, and so I actually, in that work, started to notice where I was holding onto some perfectionist thinking. And so I just shared that with them, that I'm still doing this work. And so the beautiful thing is I get to help other people come and do that. And then I get to do it over and over and over again. And so the amazing thing that I think about, and for sure, this is like my coaching work, but it's also my own, like, I'm in my own art and working on that too. And I just noticed so many parallels between my own photography and the work I do with that, and then just my normal life. I mean, I don't think we can separate any of it. It all it comes together in just sometimes a big, beautiful mess with like ups and downs, and it's just kind of what life is, and learning how to embrace the messiness and love my art. And sometimes I'm like full on into it, and sometimes I like really for like a month I haven't touched any photography at all for a month at least, and I'm okay with that. So understanding all of that is like, that's been really huge for me.
I can tell you my life really started to come together when I went to try to integrate instead of separating. And I was separating out bits of my life, like, oh, I want to give up education because it's interfering with my photography. Or, I want to get out in the bush and go walking and climbing and do all these sorts of things. And when I actually brought them all together and actually went for an integrated life, teaching photography outdoors, bringing education, art, creativity, outdoor guiding all together, that's when there was this huge shift in my life. And it was not only a mental shift, but it was also a financial shift and a security shift and a sudden grounding. And I was thinking, oh, I can't do it all in this sort of separate ideas, keeping everything separated. It's all too much. But when I brought it all together, it's actually easy and I love it. And I settled in, and I agree with you so much that it's a whole body, it's a whole life, it's everything. I live it, love it, and breathe it. And even when I have time off to watch a movie, I'm absorbing photographic compositions. And so it doesn't ever stop. And I love that so much.
So in fact, I made it actually kind of a conscious effort that I was okay. I didn't say, oh, I'm going to put my camera down, but I just haven't felt the big pull to use it, and I'm okay with that. It's really hot here in Texas right now, so it's kind of a tricky time to be wandering around photographing. But I've made a conscious decision to pay attention to how light hits the trees, or how the complicated branches intertwine with each other, or even actually can I just say, like right now I'm looking out the window and there's a silhouette of a tree with kind of a really hazy, how when the sky, it's kind of blue hour / twilight, and it just becomes like a gradient, like a kind of a beautiful soft gradient. Even just noticing that and enjoying it, and because that informs us, and also I want to notice those things. Like I want to notice nature, and so when I'm out with my camera, then I'll notice similarities, or it just makes the experience more rich, I think.
Mm-hmm. I'm a fair weather photographer. Maybe not fair weather, but a cold photographer. I love spring, winter, and autumn. And when it comes to summer, that's when I like to be hiding inside in the shadows and put my camera down for a period. And I so love the flowers in spring. I so love the leaves falling off in autumn and the colours. And I so love the bare trees in winter and all the mist and the rain. So I think having time off is very, very important.
Deciding, if I didn't pick up my camera for a month, also deciding it wasn't actually a problem, because I think a lot of us could have some judgment about how often we should do our art. I'm looking at this board I have next to me, and it says should with a big X over it, because that's how strongly I feel about the word should. Like that, I always want to have that big X over it because it just never gets us anywhere useful, that word. I don't know about you.
So the X symbolizes for you is throw this word away. It's not helpful in my life.
Yeah. Mostly. Every once in a while I say should, and my husband gives me the one eyebrow look. And I'm like, okay, but you know what I mean. Not really should, but you get it, right? So
Yeah, it's a very, very loaded word, isn't it? Where we're saying that it has to be done without saying you must, but it's implied that it's good for you and all of these things. But sometimes it's not, is it? We're better off. I know when we're talking about photographs with my students, I like to avoid the word should. And it's very easy to say, you need to cut that edge off there. But it's not even your photograph to cut the edge off. And should is also so loaded in saying this is a better way. And what we really want to say is if it was my photograph and I'd be interested in exploring what it would be like without so much white space on the edge over there. And it's a suggestion rather than should's a very directed word, isn't it?
yeah, it's like saying you should. I don't even know how to explain it. There's I have some sort of expectation or here's what I wanted to bring up is this is, by the way, everyone, this conversation is totally unplanned. We're just talking about whatever we feel directed to, but I feel like there's some sort of expectation. So if I say, hey, Len, you should cut your hair. By the way, I'll never say that. Len has gorgeous hair, but that there's some expectation that I have of you. I'm like, hey, when are you going to do that? You know, I think where it gets the most tricky, this word, is when we're using it on ourselves, which looks like I should pick up my camera. I should make this thing look like this, whatever. I should be spending X amount of time writing, whatever it is. And here is here's a quick life coach hack. If you can be onto your brain thinking this thought, so that's the first thing. So if you can be aware that you're actually thinking a sentence like that with should, even maybe sometimes you say it out loud to yourself, then just ask yourself, should I? And so if you just think, should I be doing that? I think that'll like open up some space for you to like question all kinds of things. And usually if I find myself saying, oh, I should do this, I think, should I do that? And then I go, oh no, I don't have to do any of that I don't want to do. So anyway, you can just ask yourself that quick little question. And then you can make like, once you've kind of paused, then you can make a decision about what to do next. Anyway,
because often the real answer is settling yourself and listening to your intuition.
Yeah.
And your intuition tells you what you could be doing.
Right. That creative. I feel like there should be like a word for this, like my creative spirit animal, or like, because I feel like everyone has this like creative spirit inside of them. Mine whispers to me crazy things like, you should go photograph dead burned Joshua trees in the middle of the desert, and then I get to decide whether or not I want to keep it. But we all have that creative spirit that whispers to us these things, and so sometimes those thoughts come to us like, I should XYZ, and when we can pause and then we can check in with that with ourselves and really see, right? Do you do that? I'm finding more often I am doing that, so I make conscious decisions.
It's really hard to nail down one particular way of working, Brie. And as I go on, I realise that I shouldn't have one way. And there's that bloody word again.
I know. I heard it.
You heard it. Oops,
Should
I put a big X across my face. But having multiple ways of working opens up possibilities. And when I say that, sometimes one of my projects comes up and hits me in the face and says, Len, this is the moment, and touche trees or whatever it is, and it drags me in a particular direction. And other times it's not there. And maybe the subject isn't there, maybe the light's not there. Sometimes I'm just wandering and I just have to walk for an hour or two before the photo comes up or the camera comes up to eye and I actually start making work. So at different times I use a different process or a procedure, and the trick is to follow whatever the thread is that you're hanging on to at that moment, and letting it come naturally rather than forcing it. That's what I think.
Yeah, I love that perspective. For sure. I mean, you're right. We all work in different ways. And, we're photographers, and hopefully there are others of you that are exercising your creative passions in different ways. And, I think it's important that we check in with ourselves, though, and listen, even if it's more unconscious, where you just feel a pull, so you go, right? I think we've all done that, like unconsciously. Oh, I have to do that, without actually thinking that. And then at other times, we definitely want to check in with ourselves, So, what can I say? It's art. And it's so fun. And
it is.
It's just such a beautiful part of life that this is like the most fun I've been having as these past few years, when, I've been digging deep and really, there's been struggles with it. I mean, let's just face it. Art isn't always like fun and games. Sometimes we get stressed out. Sometimes we get stressed. Sometimes it's amazing. That's why we call this a creative affair, because we are so passionate about it, right? And we have all the emotions, right? And we have all the emotions about it. And I've had more emotions about my art in the past couple of years than I ever have. And I wouldn't trade it. It's just so fun. All the parts, all the messy parts, all of I can't even tell you, the crying, the stress, the elation, all of it.
It's beautiful. It is incredibly beautiful. Well, I was thinking that might be a lovely note to finish our first podcast on, don't you, Brie? That how wonderful art is to us and all the people that we're involved in. And I even woke up this morning having dreams of friends that I went to art school with 35, 40 years ago. And I just get so excited by art, about photography, and about teaching and sharing our knowledge and what we're discovering. And I don't propose to be some expert, but I do wish to share as much as I can from whatever I can find out about creativity.
And same here. I don't think any of us are experts, but for sure, we're passionate about it.
Thank you for joining us in our creative affair. If you love the passion we bring to this creative content, please support the podcast by sharing with a friend, subscribing, and leaving us a review. To find out more about Brie's work, including her gorgeous photography and mentoring in her Creative Confidence Group Coaching Program, please visit her at creativemindscoach.com. If you'd like to learn more about creative photography, you can find me at lenmetcalf.com, where you can find links to my photography school, videos, and publications. I would so love you to sign up to my newsletter. Well, until next time, we hope you enjoy your creative life. It's time to say goodbye for now.